Have you ever noticed how many people spend their lives chasing success, money, and status, only to end up feeling more trapped than fulfilled? The truth no one likes to admit is that not all wealth equals freedom. Many people live in golden cages. Everything looks perfect on the outside, but inside, they can barely breathe. Have you ever wondered if the path you're following is truly yours, or are you just trying to fit into a model that was sold to you? The fable of the town mouse and the country mouse exposes this reality in a nearly brutal way. On one side, comfort and abundance. On the other, simplicity and peace. But what seems like an obvious choice hides a trap: the invisible cost of each decision. Would the country mouse trade his tranquility for luxury? Would the town mouse give up his extravagant life for peace and quiet? And have you ever stopped to think about what you might be sacrificing without even realizing it? What you're about to discover here could completely change how you see life. We're going to dive deep into this story and bring it into the real world, with powerful lessons that could make a huge difference in your daily life. So, if you feel like you're always running without knowing exactly where you're going, or if you've ever questioned whether what you have today is truly what you want, this video is for you. Get ready, because what comes next might open your eyes in a way few things ever have. You know that simpler, slower life where things happen without all the noise, without the rush, and without the need to prove anything to anyone? Well, a lot of people look at that and turn up their noses. It makes sense. Today, being busy has become a status symbol. But let me tell you something no one else will. This constant rush doesn't always mean progress. Sometimes it's just noise. And this is where wisdom comes in. Are you really living your own way, or are you just following the crowd? This reminds me of a character you might know, or will enjoy getting to know: the country mouse. That's right, from Aesop's fable. He lived simply, eating roots and grains, not luxurious, but peaceful. He didn't have to constantly hide from predators, nor pretend to be something he wasn't. And the most curious part? He was happy, not complacent, but clear about what was truly worth it for him. How many people today would trade all the luxury in the world for a little peace and authenticity? The truth is, in real life, the country mouse could be that person who stays away from social media, values deep friendships, runs a small business, or works independently. They may not make a fortune, but they sleep soundly at night. It could be the artist who refuses to sell out just to please the masses, or the entrepreneur who chooses to grow slowly and with purpose. These people are living proof that you can have a great life without following the standard model of success. But not everyone sees it that way, and that leads us to our next important point. It's interesting how a life full of luxury is so tempting, right? The truth is, some people don't even think twice. If the promise is abundance, comfort, and the appearance of success, they jump in without even checking the ticket. But does all of this really come without a price? When the town mouse invited his cousin to visit his world, he painted a picture straight out of a movie: endless food, comfort everywhere, and a life full of pleasure. But he forgot to mention one tiny detail: the constant fear. This moment in the fable reveals something many people experience without realizing it. How many trade their peace of mind for a life that looks perfect on the outside but is filled with stress, pressure, and insecurity? That high-ranking job that demands 16-hour workdays. That relationship that seems ideal on Instagram but is an emotional battlefield behind closed doors. That brand new car, financed in 60 installments. It might all seem like a city full of delights, but it can just as easily hide hungry cats, waiting to strike at the first moment of distraction. And here comes a crucial point: is what you call success truly yours, or was it imposed by other people's showcases? Many are living in town mouse mode without even realizing it. Running, hiding, living under pressure, feasting on appearances while starving for peace. And the craziest part? Even when everything looks glamorous, the body speaks: anxiety, insomnia, that lingering feeling of emptiness. You can try to ignore it, but at some point, the emotional bill arrives. And when it does, it's usually a hefty one. But hold on. This leads us to a realization that might completely change your perspective. Some life decisions seem small but carry immense weight. Choosing between the peace of the countryside and the extravagance of the city, for example, isn't just about lifestyle, It's about what you're willing to give up. And let me tell you, giving something up is inevitable. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to another. In the fable, the country mouse quickly realized that the feast came hand in hand with fear. And fear is paralyzing. Fear takes away the taste of food, the joy of the moment, and the beauty of being present. In real life, it's exactly the same. Anyone who has ever traded a simple but peaceful job for a big opportunity only to find themselves swallowed by endless meetings, absurd targets, and sleepless nights knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that friend who sold everything to move to a big city but now spends most of their time locked inside a 30 square meters apartment, with no time to even enjoy a coffee on the balcony. It's no use having a lot if it comes at the cost of your freedom, mental health, or essence. And here's a practical tip that few people apply. Before making big decisions, try the projection test. Close your eyes and picture yourself living that choice for a year, 5 years, 10. How do you feel? Relieved or anxious? Because the answer is there. It may not come with flashing lights, but it comes with honesty. And honestly, when we choose based only on the shine, without looking behind the curtain, we risk living a life that isn't truly ours. But this risk can be avoided if you understand what comes next. It's funny how, nowadays, everyone wants everything instantly. Life has turned into a delivery app. If it doesn't arrive quickly, we cancel. But reality doesn't work that way. And the country mouse understood this better than most. He realized that what seemed like a gift, that grand feast, full of luxury and promises, came with a hidden trap disguised as an advantage. Instant gratification is seductive, but it's also deceptive. It gives you the now but steals your future. Modern society sells this same illusion: buy now, pay later, get your dream body in 7 days, become rich in 3 easy steps. Everything seems quick and effortless, until you realize you've fallen into a race with no finish line. You know that feeling of constantly chasing something but never feeling truly satisfied? Exactly. The country mouse had little, but he knew what he wanted. Meanwhile, the town mouse lived between feasts and frights, stuck in a never-ending cycle. Just like many people today, living for appearances with no real purpose. And if there's one thing that changes lives, it's having clarity of purpose. Not that cliché speech of, find your purpose, and everything will make sense. I'm talking about a real purpose, one that you can feel deep in your bones. It could be raising your children with presence. It could be helping others through your work. It could be living with freedom. The important thing is that it guides you. Because without it, we get carried away by any tempting invitation, like the town mouses, and before we know it, we're somewhere we never wanted to be. But understanding this opens a powerful door, and that's what we're about to explore next. Few people talk about this, but sometimes, the bravest thing you can do in life is go back. Yes, admitting that a choice no longer serves you, that a path once promising turned out to be a trap, that a lifestyle everyone admires simply isn't for you. That's exactly what the country mouse did. He wasn't ashamed to walk away from luxury and abundance. On the contrary, he understood that no feast is worth sleepless nights and constant fear. And that, my friend, is a level of maturity that many people never reach. In practice, this kind of courage appears when someone walks away from a job that drains them, even if it pays well. When a person decides to break off a relationship that everyone thought was perfect, but inside, it was an emotional disaster. When someone chooses to say no to a lifestyle that pleases others but suffocates their own essence. That's not weakness. It's strength. It's authenticity. It's saying, I'd rather live my truth, even if it seems less glamorous. And that is freedom. Want a powerful exercise? Grab a pen and paper and write, what am I keeping in my life just because it looks good to others? Be honest. Then, write down what you would keep if no one were watching. The contrast might shock you, but it might also reveal something important. Because deep down, everyone has a little bit of the country mouse inside them, that part that just wants to live in peace, simply, but truly. And if you listen to that side carefully, it might lead you to a profound turning point, just like you're about to see in the next section. What does it really mean to be rich? Many people will say it's having money, cars, a huge house. Others will talk about freedom, time, and peace. The truth is, there's no single answer. The mistake is believing that only one path exists. The country mouse and the city mouse weren't wrong. They just had different values. The problem is that many people spend their lives trying to fit into someone else's model of success and forget to build their own. That's where frustration, anxiety, and that constant feeling of being in the wrong place come from. The greatest wealth a person can have isn't material possessions. It's clarity about what truly matters to them. If your peace is in a simple house in the countryside, why force yourself to stay in the big city? If your happiness is in the adrenaline of business, why try to live a quiet life? What matters is understanding your priorities and making choices that align with them. Because what's the point of having a feast if you're too afraid to enjoy the food? The country mouse understood that. But what about you? And here's something that can change your life. Every decision you make today is shaping your future. The question is that future what you truly want? Because if it's not, the time to adjust your path is now. Not tomorrow. Not when you have time. Not when the circumstances improve. Because the only thing worse than living a life that doesn't fit you is realizing too late that you spent too much time trying to please a model that was never yours. And this reflection leads us to something even deeper. Now that you've seen what's really behind this story, let me ask you, are you living like the country mouse, with simplicity and peace, or like the city mouse, trapped in an endless race? There's no right or wrong answer, but there's one thing no one can deny. If you don't take control of your life, someone else will decide for you. And trust me, that someone could be society, the job market, or even the expectations that were placed on you. But now you know the truth. And with truth comes responsibility. If today you realized you're following a path that doesn't make you happy, what are you going to do about it? Will you keep ignoring it, or will you have the courage to make changes? Because in the end, the biggest trap isn't the dangerous city or the challenging countryside. It's living on autopilot, never stopping to ask if you're truly where you want to be. So, tell me, what did you take away from this story? What change do you feel you need to make in your life today? Drop a comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. And of course, if this content made you reflect, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because the more people understand this message, the fewer will fall into the trap of living a life that isn't really theirs. See you in the next video.